Goodbye.
Good afternoon, I'm Laurel Irving. It's 4 o'clock in Melbourne and these are our top stories. A spike in Victoria's corona cases as the state's biggest cluster grows again. VCE relief, exam dates locked in and results back before New Year's. Target troubles, stores set to shut and 1,000 jobs at risk. Crash investigation twist, what was behind the mayhem that left more than a dozen shoppers hurt? And why counter-terrorism police are investigating a phone tower fire.
Live from Melbourne, this is 7's Afternoon News with Laurel Irving.
First at 4, Victoria has reported a spike in coronavirus cases. Every day for almost 3 weeks, we've had the highest number of cases in the country. Nick McCallum has been looking at the figures. Nick, one cluster is still presenting problems.
Laurel, Victoria had 12 new coronavirus cases overnight, 5 of them at Cedar Meats, bringing the cluster there now to 111. All workers, all people visiting the factory there today had temperature checks. Since May the 2nd, 243 Victorians have been infected with the virus. That's 3 times more than the figure in New South Wales. Now, largely, it is the responsibility of Cedar Meats, that huge figure, and the opposition is seething. Here's what they had to say.
Daniel Andrews, Health Minister, said this has been handled absolutely perfectly. Well, 111 infected people tells you that this has been a shambles.
But there is some good news for our VCE students today. Finally, some clarity. They go back to face-to-face schooling on Tuesday, and now they know their exam timetable at the end of the year has been pushed back by 2 weeks. The exams will start on November the 9th, finish by December the 2nd, and they will get their results by the end of the year. It's been such an uncertain, stressful time for the students, so this comes as an enormous relief. Let's hear from the Education Minister and a couple of students.
This provides much needed certainty for our Year 12 students who have done it tough this year and their families.
The whole year's been very uncertain from the start and the onset. We haven't known dates, we haven't known what's going on with our course, and to just have that clarity and that certainty now for us is so valuable.
I think in such a time of ambiguity, it's really good that people have definitive dates that they can actually work towards and see the end goal.
And in preparation for a return to school, 10,000 school staff members have had coronavirus tests, and Laurel, so far, not one has tested positive.
Great news ahead of the return to school. Thank you, Nick. But we're being warned traffic congestion is set to soar when Victorians return to work and school. As Georgia Comensoli reports, commuters are expected to ditch public transport and drive.
Good afternoon. For those still commuting into the city for work, it's been a dream run with traffic, but we're being warned that that's about to change with the combination of school going back and office workers returning to the city having the potential to cause traffic chaos.
We've seen a big trend now that lockdowns have been loosened. We've had a 22% increase week on week, and we're 100% up from the trough a few weeks ago.
A study by the Institute of Transport and Logistics says 84% of commuters prefer driving into work over using public transport due to fears of getting sick.
We're likely to see the public transport system fairly stressed over the next few months, with people reluctant to use it or potentially capacity constrained.
For Sophie Pollard, the idea of commuting from Ivanhoe into the city under social distancing rules is concerning.
I do feel worried about packed trains or how often trains would come, and for me to have enough room when I'm standing on a train to get to work.
Demand for car sharing companies or rentals like Car Next Door have skyrocketed since lockdown restrictions started to ease.
To me, it seems safer and I'm in control.
Getting around by car is really one of the few safe methods that you can do it. And our platform is one of the few ways you can access a car really easily.
The RACV say close to 50% of office workers say they would like to stay at home after restrictions ease, and if their bosses let them, it's expected that the value of city towers could drop by 15%.
Counter-terrorism police are investigating a phone tower fire in Melbourne's southeast. Reporter Tom Chadwick has the latest from Cranbourne.
Well, residents in this quiet Cranbourne West Street were woken at about 2 o'clock this morning when large flames were seen billowing from a mobile phone tower. Witnesses described the early morning drama.
Massive big line of fire running up the side of the tower. A lot of flames on the tower. Most of it was just a wire burning.
The fire lasted for around 30 minutes before the CFA got it under control, the high voltage power line providing challenges for firefighters.
Fires involving any type of electricity, and particularly our high voltage electricity, are quite challenging. Not only to being able to put the water where it needs to get to, but to ensure the safety of our crews.
AusNet was called to cut the power in the area. Locals here do say this phone tower has had its history of troubles.
That hut that's down the bottom of it has problems consistently beeping and going off.
Counter-terrorism police attended as precaution following a number of incidents internationally where mobile phone towers have been set alight. Police attended the scene for most of the day, collecting evidence as they try and piece together exactly how and why this fire started.
Target is the latest big-name brand to buckle as the economic crisis hits the retail sector hard. As Jodie Lee explains, some stores are set to close while others will become Kmart.
Well, this is a major shake-up by parent company Wesfarmers. From next year, it will begin the process of closing up to 75 Target stores right across the country and converting a further 92 outlets to Kmart stores. The decision's a result of a review into the retailer that began last August. It's no secret Target has been underperforming for some time, posting diminishing sales figures and weak profits. But Wesfarmers accelerated its review into the retailer after sales took a further dive due to COVID-19. The merger will also see the end of the Target Country brand. 50 country outlets will convert to small Kmarts while the remaining 50 will close.
It's a very tough day for a lot of our Target team, and we'll be working closely with them over the next year to try and find opportunities for redeployment.
The company announced today that most staff affected by the restructure will be redeployed into other areas of the business, but it was announced to shareholders that between 1,000 to 1,300 workers, or close to 10% of Target's workforce right across the country, could lose their jobs.
Treasury has revealed a significant error in the government's JobKeeper scheme worth a staggering $60 billion. Live to Olivia Leeming in Canberra. Olivia, bring us up to speed.
Laurel, yes, this news just in this afternoon will have massive implications for the government and the cost of its JobKeeper scheme. Treasury and the Tax Office revealing around 1,000 businesses made a reporting error when filling out their applications for the payment for their workers. Instead of writing the number of their employees, they wrote 1,500, the amount they expected them to receive. This mistake only just revealed. It means the number of Australians receiving the subsidies has been revised down from 6.5 million to just 3.5 million, and the cost to the taxpayer far less. Instead of $130 billion, now just $70 billion. Laurel?
So what does that mean for the $60 billion suddenly left over?
Well, the government yet to reveal how it might spend that money, though the Greens already calling for workers who were originally left out of the scheme to now be included, like casuals who are only eligible if they've been with the same employer for at least a year. They also want the increased job seeker rate to remain in place now beyond the pandemic. The error could also impact the economic outlook for Australia, and we're yet to learn what it means for the unemployment rate, given that was calculated based on assumptions that more than 6 million Australians are on JobKeeper. We now know that it's far less. The onus now on the government to explain why this error was only just detected and the mistake not revealed far earlier. Laurel?
Exactly, a huge flow-on effect. Olivia Leeming, thank you. President Trump caused confusion as he revealed the results of his latest coronavirus test. Let's take a listen.
I tested positively toward negative, right? So, no, I tested perfectly this morning, meaning I tested negative.
And in bizarre scenes at a car factory, the president refused to wear a mask in front of the media, but then did so behind the scenes. Almost 200 traffickers have been caught supplying drugs to users at Richmond's safe injecting room. Tegan Doling has spent the day on Victoria Street and spoke to fed-up residents.
Police have been targeting this drug-riddled area of North Richmond as part of a huge crackdown on drug trafficking. Today, we went along with officers as they patrolled Victoria Street, and within minutes they were arresting a man for possessing what's believed to be heroin.
Now, you haven't got anything on you that you shouldn't have? OK, we're going to pop you in the back of the van, Angelo. It's a quick drive, though.
A newly established task force, which included the officers on bikes, has made hundreds of arrests in this area in a bid to help keep the streets safe, especially around the safe injecting room. There's hope the arrests will have a flow-on effect in the community.
When you take that in the context of the hard work that the police are doing, it just goes to show how bad it's, that honeypot is.
To those who think that they can come into the Yarra precinct and trade off the misery of others, Victoria Police is here and we are waiting for you.
Residents say the arrests are very much welcomed, but they are still being confronted daily with dangerous behaviour in the streets and people using drugs.
There's been a bizarre development in the investigation to a serious car crash at a Sydney shopping strip. The driver involved has been re-arrested this afternoon. Reporter Andrew Denny has the details.
Well, after letting the driver involved in yesterday's smash go in the early hours of this morning, police then dramatically re-arrested him this afternoon. He's being questioned here at Bankstown Police Station. The 51-year-old Lakemba man was taken into custody at a home in Greenacre just after 1 p.m. He was, of course, the driver at the centre of yesterday's crash into the Hijab House clothing store that left 14 people injured. He was filmed ramming into cars at the traffic lights, spinning and smoking his wheels and shunting those cars out of the way before ploughing into the shops. We spoke with the owner earlier today, who says he's amazed that no one was killed.
I saw the counter had completely been flattened and kind of destroyed. We had staff members behind that counter. We had 2 staff members as well as customers in front of it. To me, it was a miracle that people survived.
The question now is why police arrested this man only hours after letting him go. They were originally trying to figure out if he'd suffered a medical episode behind the wheel, but now say charges are expected. A doctor who ran in and helped yesterday described his state for us.
He was not injured. There was no blood in him. I didn't see he was screaming or asking for help. He was just sitting in shock. And I don't think he needed any help.
Now, we are expecting an update from police a little later this afternoon, and we'll bring you those details as soon as they come to hand.
The cause of Tuesday night's freak storm in Geelong has finally been uncovered. Jane Bunn has the details. Jane, take us through it.
Well, Laurel, almost 3 days after a severe storm ripped off houses in Geelong, investigators finally know why. It is confirmed that a tornado touched down in Warren Ponds, leaving a path of destruction 60 metres wide and 3 kilometres long. In 10 minutes of terror, a rotating vortex let debris fly through the air at speeds of 160 kilometres an hour. That's very frightening in the middle of the night. We get storms like this each year, but it's rare to get this sort of impact in a residential area. Next up is days of rain for East Gippsland. I'll have more details on that later, Laura.
Thank you, Jane. Collingwood President Eddie Maguire has demanded answers into the mystery stabbing of Jack Stephen. Cats coach Chris Scott yesterday took a swipe at commentary that suggested it was related to his previous off-field issues. But Maguire says Geelong should come clean.
Well, it's an easy solution, Scotty. Tell us what the hell happened. And then we won't have to jump the gun and try and draw the line between the 2 points and all the rest of it. That's the easy way. Just tell us what happened and everyone will be able to move on.
As you well know that.
Stephen is refusing to cooperate with police. He's expected to return to training next week. Up next, detectives step up the hunt to find a third man wanted over a fatal hit run. Plus, social distancing in, menus out, new rules for restaurants. And a Hollywood star going to jail over the college admissions scandal. Back soon, live across Victoria.
Bateman's Bay Fire Brigade stood on top of that roof and wouldn't let this burn.
All donated. People are amazing.
Join Dr. Harry and see how our heartland is healing.
You're giving it a second chance.
New Better Homes, tonight on 7.
With Geelong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of staycations, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Geelong.
Rylock Windows and Doors combine quality, style and performance. Custom made for your project with an emphasis on energy efficiency. Rylock. Speak to your architect, designer or builder about the Rylock range of products.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
If you're looking for a simple home loan with a great low rate, then walk this way. With a RAMS Essential Home Loan, you can enjoy both. Backed by our famous silver service. RAMS, greater together.
Your Ford dealer is still open and ready to help your business get back to business with high-vis value. So you can get a hard-working Ranger XLT for only $54,990 drive away. Or the great value Ranger XLS for just $46,490 drive away. And don't forget to check if your business is eligible for the government's instant asset write-off this financial year. So hurry into your Ford dealer now for high-vis value.
Dad!
Oh, sorry. It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose. Shh.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
It's only natural to want what's best for your toddler. 100% grass-fed milk is better by nature. We know that nature provides the best, which is why 100% grass-fed milk is free from palm oil, GMO and growth hormones. 100% grass-fed milk encourages growth and development, whilst gentle on toddler's tummy and easy to digest. So you have the peace of mind knowing you've made the natural choice. 100% grass-fed milk, made in New Zealand, better by nature.
Live from Melbourne, you're watching 7's afternoon news. Mostly cloudy in town right now. It's 13 degrees. Detectives have stepped up the hunt for a third man wanted over a fatal hit run. Reporter Cassie Zervos has the latest on the investigation.
The investigation into the deliberate hit run of Jake Smith is still being investigated by the homicide squad. 7 News can reveal the third person in the ute who fled the scene is still on the run, with police urging him to hand himself in. On Wednesday night, Jake Smith got into an argument with 3 people, all believed to be known to him, at a service station in Bacchus Marsh. The ute driver and his passengers tracked him down on Woolpack Road and deliberately mowed him down head-on. Instead of immediately stopping, they continued to drive before pulling over further down the road. The driver and a male passenger were arrested at the scene, but a third person fled on foot and remains on the run. This wasn't the first time trouble found the 24-year-old. Last year, Smith was shot in the upper body while skateboarding. But today, police are focusing their efforts on finding that third person who was in the ute. Anyone who knows his whereabouts has been urged to contact police.
A third man's been arrested over the fatal shooting of an unarmed jogger in the US. Ahmed Arbery was gunned down in February. Earlier this month, a father and son were charged over his death. Witness William Bryan, who filmed the encounter, has now been taken into custody, but he denies any involvement. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has escaped facing a criminal investigation into his relationship with a US businesswoman when he was Mayor of London. The UK's Independent Officer for Police launched an investigation last year into allegations of misconduct. The British leader had been accused of failing to disclose his personal links to her after she received $250,000 in grants. Hollywood actress Laurel and her husband could spend time behind bars. The pair have pleaded guilty to bribing college officials to get their 2 daughters into university. They're facing 2 and 5 months in prison respectively as part of a plea deal. But legal experts say they could avoid jail time completely due to the coronavirus pandemic. Coming up, Australia's ban on cruise ships extended. Also, why our dream traffic run is coming to an end. And William and Kate's surprise bingo date. Stay with us live from Melbourne.
The racing is back.
A length and a half in front. He thrashes it, takes the lead.
See it all Saturday, live and free on 7.
Come on, everyone! Donate some of your data to kids who need it most and power their potential. Don't miss a moment. New by Solvin Duo Syrup is a 2-in-1 formula traditionally used to soothe an irritated throat and relieve an associated dry cough. By Solvin Duo. Moments uninterrupted. Available at selected retailers.
Roger! Jump up! Do it for a schmackos! Rogie!
When your hair's not weighed down, you can do the day. Introducing new Pantene 0% silicone. Unlike silicone found in ordinary shampoos, new Pantene has nourishing lipids. The difference is clear. New Pantene 0% silicone formula gives you lightweight, smooth hair that lasts through to the next day. Do 0% silicone. Do new Pantene.
Shut up and take my money.
Infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Unlike most modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't, giving you Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi. To experience better Wi-Fi, visit telstra.com today.
Taking a look at some of the other news we're following here this afternoon, a former police officer could be jailed after she stole 5 houses by changing the locks on vacant properties. As Charnel Vella reports, a judge labelled the accused an energetic fraudster.
Well, that's right. Rosa Rossi thought she'd found a clever way to build a property portfolio by finding vacant properties and changing the locks. And it was working for her until she was caught. The former sergeant used the LEAP database to find the empty homes around Victoria. She then tricked tradies into believing she was the owner and had them change the locks. She then rented out the properties and hid her fraudulent behaviour by redirecting mail and changing the details on rates notices. She claims she was depressed. A judge disagreed. I see deliberate and egregious acts to dispel the owner. She is an energetic fraudster rather than misguided. One of her victims was a disability pensioner who was living overseas. He only found out there were people in his house when neighbours told him. I was anxious and worried when I heard there was a strange car and people in my property. Anything to say at all to the victim? Rossi was originally suspended with pay, but she's since handed back her badge. She told the court she now works as a hairdresser and a farmer.
More than 70% of Victorians are saving an hour a day by working from home during the pandemic, according to the RACV. Around half of us want to continue to work or study from home when the crisis is over. There are calls for employers to continue providing flexible work arrangements once we return to our normal routines. And for more on this, we're joined by Jeff Gwillim, CEO at Victorian Automobile Chamber of Commerce. Jeff, what sort of difference would it make if people stayed at and worked from home for just a couple of days a week?
Well, I think we've all seen that while people have been working from home, the roads have become a lot clearer and we can get in and out a lot quicker. And of course, people are very comfortable with that. Our expectation is, however, given the concerns around public transport, that people will actually get back into cars and potentially older cars once the restrictions are off and people can go back to work. And we're concerned about that. I think it should also be discussed that whilst people are comfortable working at home, they don't want to work at home all the time. So the workplace is somewhere where people collaborate, work together and form teams, and that's very important as well.
So it sounds like you think employers need to be flexible about this. Otherwise, we might actually see even more traffic on the road than normal from before the pandemic.
Well, I think there's no doubt we will see more traffic on the roads. Some of the reports coming from the used car sector, the salespeople in that sector indicate that people are looking for cheaper cars, and it looks as though people just want something to get them into work and back. And I think that will have major issues, not only for road transport and congestion, but also for parking. And, the issue is we may end up having to stagger people back in the workplace and obviously look at models of employment, whether it's at home or at work, but ultimately we are going to face a challenge on those roads when we go back.
We've all talked about how life will be different after the pandemic. It sounds like you think it really has to be in terms of the way we work.
Well, it does, and I think we've all learned to use technology in a more fluid way, and I don't think people want to do that all the time, but I think we've become very adapted to online technologies, and I can tell you, I have staff meetings with 120 staff online as one group, and there's a great democracy in that as well because everybody gets the same issue at the same time. But I think it shouldn't be overlooked. Employers face huge costs. They've already rented buildings, they've already rented workspace. That is sitting empty. And if people are working at home, those considerations need to be made about how much office space they keep in the future, because you can't afford to have half your staff at home and half of the building empty. That doesn't work either.
No, there'll be long-term effects, it sounds like. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cruise ships are banned from entering Australian waters until at least September. Any vessel capable of carrying more than 100 passengers is prohibited from operating after restrictions were extended. There are currently no cruise ships docked in our waters after the Ruby Princess departed last month. Donald Trump claims his virus tests have come back positively negative. The president's confusing message is coming up this afternoon. Also, a major drugs operation in Richmond. Thousands of hits off the streets. How it's impacting locals. And car prices slashed. How long will the deals last? We're back in just a couple of minutes.
As you're waking,
country emerges from hibernation.
There's one sure way to know you're across what's unfolding. It's on Sunrise.
When will domestic travel be on the cards again?
Bringing you what's important.
An influx of commuters emerge.
Breaking down the headlines.
There's some really, really capable people out there who've lost their jobs.
Connecting you with our decision makers.
Relations between Australia and China appear pretty dire.
The team Australia turns to are on Sunrise.
Oh, baby, baby, feed me. Baby, feed me. Oh, feed me.
Time powerless to resist.
Having a home to feel safe in has never felt more important. And with home loan know-how from your local Rams home loan specialist, we can help you feel supported every step of the way. Rams, greater together.
The Beacon Frenzy sale is now on with 20% off all lights and fans. Update your home this winter and get 20% off every single light and fan this week only. Hurry, the Beacon Frenzy sale ends Sunday.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your dinner with some of the key ingredients for delicious beef and thyme burgers. Like Coles brioche buns, 4-pack, just $2.70 every day. And Coles frozen chips, 1 kilo pack, down to $1.90. With Coles beef and thyme burgers on Mix, Match and Save, any of these 2 packs for just $12. For more great recipes and weekly specials, sign up for the digital catalogue at coles.com.au. Coles, good things, great value.
This Friday, Saturday and Sunday, receive a minimum of $300 trade-in for your old double, queen or king-size mattress. Plus, we will deliver your new mattress and take away your old one. Offer ends 4 p.m. Sunday. Bevmarks, the sleep professionals. Better sleep, better life.
Save on the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G on Australia's best 5G. Find out more in-store or online by June 30.
Jim's Plumbing can be there within 1 hour of your call with $0 deposit interest-free. The same great rates 24/7 mean you pay no more after hours. Jim's Plumbing is your choice for everything plumbing and gas.
Live from Melbourne, this is 7's Afternoon News with Laurel Irving.
Good afternoon again. Our top stories this Friday, a spike in Victoria's corona cases as the state's biggest cluster grows again. VCE relief, exam dates locked in and results back before New Year's. Target troubles, stores set to shut and 1,000 jobs at risk. And counter-terrorism police investigating a phone tower fire. Returning to our top story now, Victoria has recorded a sharp increase in the cases of COVID-19, with 12 new people diagnosed overnight. 5 are linked to the Cedar Meats outbreak, bringing that cluster to 111. Then there's some certainty today for our VCE students. Exams will go ahead this year, beginning on the 9th of November.
This provides much needed certainty for our Year 12 students who have done it tough this year and their families.
Students will get their ATAR scores by the end of the year. Now to some alarming findings out of Richmond. Police have intercepted almost 200 drug deals since the supervised injecting room opened 2 years ago. While users can take illicit substances into the facility, it's still illegal for someone to sell drugs to them. David Horseman from the local Action Committee group has been campaigning against the facility since it opened. He joins us now. David, are these new figures surprising to you?
Unfortunately, Laurel, no, they're not surprising, and it only goes to demonstrate what the community's been saying for 2 years now, that the injecting room honeypot has had a profound impact on our community.
So what does it mean about safety for your neighbourhood?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, as you would imagine, that's a constant issue and a constant concern for our residents. Essentially, they don't know what they're going to encounter every time they step out their door, every time they try.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, just trying to go about normal everyday life, taking their kids to school, going to the health centre, going shopping. Every day they confront this when they walk out their door.
We know that Richmond has long been associated with drug problems. Has there been any improvement at all since the injection room commenced?
No, well, that's probably the most compelling thing. And when you look at these numbers released by the police, you know, over 200 arrests in less than the last 12 months, yet every day our residents are confronted with the same levels of public injecting and drug dealing. So the police seem to be doing the best they can in a challenging situation, but the injecting room seems like it's made it almost impossible for them to keep our community safe and to get on top of these issues.
So it hasn't shifted at all?
No, unfortunately not. I wish I could say it had, but it hasn't. It's as bad as it's ever been.
Is it just about the injecting room being there, or is there anything else that could be done in the way it's managed or police approach this situation to make it better for residents?
Well, I think, as I said, the police are kind of doing the best they can, I think, in this really difficult situation. The reality is the injecting room draws, you know, it has over 300 visits a day, over 10,000 visits a month. So, and that's only those using the room. There's just as many, if not more, still buying, injecting, using on the streets. So I don't think there's really anything more the police can do in response to that. It really just needs to be moved out of the residential neighbourhood. It should never have been placed there in the first place. It certainly wasn't the recommendation of all the experts prior to its establishment. So you know, if you think about what the police said also in terms of not being able to actively patrol or police around the entry to the injecting room, that is right beside our primary school. So basically they're saying we can't police that activity right beside the school, right beside the health centre. It really just needs to be relocated, and that's what our community has been campaigning for all the way along.
David Horseman, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Laurel.
Unions are demanding all construction companies bidding to build the North East Link offer workers pay rises of up to 5% a year. It would be for the entire life of the multi-billion-dollar project up until 2028. The CFMEU, as well as its electrical and plumbing allies, are behind the call. Victoria's cafes and restaurants are busy preparing to open with new rules around social distancing. From June the 1st, up to 20 customers will be allowed to dine inside. Estelle Griepink explains how it'll work.
Well, in welcome news to all of us, restaurants, pubs and cafes will be able to have 20 customers in their venues from June 1st. I'm joined now by Ben Anderson from the Australian Venue Co. And Ben, what are some of the things you'll be doing to keep people socially distant?
Look, we're really excited to be opening our pubs on June 1st. All of our tables will be separated by 1.5 metres. We've got increased signage throughout the venues, hand sanitiser stations, and then we've got all of our staff that are fully trained up in the new COVID procedures.
And how much of a relief is it to finally be able to open again?
It's a huge relief. We've been shut for about 8 weeks, all of our pubs around Australia, so 150 pubs, and we're really excited to be able to get customers back in and also to get the staff engaged back with the business.
I'm sure things will look very different. So do you have any advice for customers when they start coming back in?
Yeah, probably the biggest difference will be ordering from the table. We have a new process called Mr Yum, where the customers scan a QR code at the table and they select their food and beverage and then it gets delivered out to the table. That's probably one of the biggest changes that they'll see.
Thank you so much, Ben. And we will have more on this story at 6 o'clock.
Let's take a quick look at Melbourne's traffic now.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jess Miller. In the Alltel traffic chopper, there have been a fair few incidents on the road to Savo. Right now, we're having a look at delays on the Ring Road. These Greensboro-bound hold-ups are due to an earlier collision just near Sydney Road. The left-hand lane was out of action for about an hour, and as you can see, traffic is still struggling from back at the Tulla. Did you know your staff's mobiles and PCs can become an extension of your office desk phone? Work anywhere on any device with an Alltel business phone system. Visit alltel.com.au today.
Sport now with Tom Brown. Tom, the fixture is still creating headaches.
There could be a solution this afternoon, though. That's right, Laurel. 7 News broke the story last night. We'll have new information that's come to hand on the fixture this afternoon. Also, Scott Pendlebury pie in the sky idea to shake up the finals and how Australia and England's cricket teams plan to lock horns in just 4 months' time.
I'm your dad.
Is the bloke legit?
He says he is.
Why'd you choose now to come and find me?
You're just taking me for a ride.
When he finds out the true reason his dad's here, it could break his heart.
You need to tell him what's going on.
All I can do is protect him from me hurting him.
But that's exactly what you're doing. You know, if you don't tell him, I will.
Home and Away, next next week at 7 on 7. Save on the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G on Australia's best 5G. Find out more in-store or online by June 30.
I suddenly realised we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
Okay, let's start something. Let's learn. Let's do a degree and study online so there's less of this and more of this. Let's do this with Swinburne Online.
Be the first to know when news breaks with the news.com.au app. News delivered to you free, when you want it and how you want it. Stay up to date and download the free news.com.au app now.
You'd never clean your surfaces with this, so why use this? Sponges can carry millions of germs. Dettol wipes kill germs instead of spreading them. Now biodegradable and compostable.
Most Australians use their home internet very differently these days, so the quality of your Wi-Fi signal is more important than ever. Wi-Fi gets weaker when it travels from room to room. Walls, furniture, and even TVs can affect the signal strength. For the best possible signal, try moving your Wi-Fi modem into the open. For more home internet help, visit nbn.com.au/optimise.
You know you'll make a great mum one day.
Wise men say.
You know, I had the weirdest cravings when I was pregnant with you. Pickles and ice cream.
Oh, if I can falling in love with you.
A giant offer.
$60,000.
Will cause a giant upset. But for who? New The Chase. Weekdays on 7.
Welcome back. The round 2 fixtures have again been thrown into chaos overnight. Chief football reporter Mark Stevens has fresh developments this afternoon. Siva, there's been some more meetings, or pretty much as we speak.
There has been, Tom, a lot of talk about round 2 and a possible showdown in South Australia. It's ongoing at the moment. It looks like at this stage the broadcast staff will be able to fly in and out and quickly spend some time in Adelaide. But the umpires would have to actually travel and then go into a quarantine. So a 14-day quarantine, South Australian government not buckling on that, but the word is today, now just a short time ago, the showdown's set to go ahead. Now the umpiring department has to find some umpires prepared to go into a 14-day lockdown basically before the match. A lot of them are professionals, so that will be the next step. Watch your space on the umps. We're also watching as Collingwood hit the track today. They're looking really fit, the Magpies. They've impressed a lot of spies at other clubs. Scotty Pendlebury really leading the way, and as usual, he's leading the way with footy opinion.
I'm not against 17-game seasons. I'd be just against doing 5 months pre-season to play 17 games. So, you know, I'd do 6 weeks pre-season to play 17 games, something like that. I've said a best-of-3 grand final series would be, you know, amazing to play, and it's just whatever we do that's different will create attention first, and then it'll become the new norm.
He loves his basketball, Pendles, and that's some way towards a best-of-7, if you like. Alistair Clarkson, the voice of footy in many ways, very conservative today, didn't give a lot away. I know that you were there, Tom. Let's have a listen to one of his comments.
I sort of look at it as if it's like an event that's occurred and the stock market has reacted to that, and in most cases there's an overreaction to a significant event, and then there's some form of correction. And at some point in time, I feel like the league will correct itself.
Very deep today, Clark. Also deep was Luke Beveridge out at the Bulldogs. I'll have all the latest from the kennel at 6, Tom.
Thanks to Sivo. They're reporting live this afternoon. Meantime, Cricket Australia boss Kevin Roberts has confirmed the Australian men's tour of England could be back on. Roberts has been in communication with his English counterpart over a possible white ball tour in September, but it will hinge on the success of the Pakistan and West Indies tour scheduled for July, which will be played in biosecure hubs. Roberts also confirmed India's tour of Australia is almost certain to go ahead this summer. Meantime, one of the most promising racehorses in the country will headline Seven's Saturday racing coverage tomorrow. Chris Waller's Boom 3-year-old Canaan, a dominant winner during the championships, is the hot favourite for the Gunsynd Classic at Eagle Farm in Brisbane, which begins their winter racing carnival.
I guess he's got to go to another level. What he beat in the Frank Packer Plate, we're not sure.
Seven Saturday racing coverage includes all the action from the Flemington, Randwick and Eagle Farm meetings tomorrow afternoon. And check out this 5-year-old Californian Caden Kessler, whose baseball pitching skills have gone viral in the United States.
Don't try this at home, folks.
His pitching skills even strong enough to break a watermelon, earning him a sweet treat. Laurel, I'm tipping with those skills he's going to earn plenty of money in the future.
Would have thought he spent some hours doing that, my goodness. Car sales hit an all-time low in April, prompting dealers to dramatically drop prices. But as the nation heads back to the office, Australians are shunning public transport over health concerns, looking to buy their own car.
David Vincent has been in the used car game for almost 20 years. In that time, he's faced plenty of tough times, but nothing quite like the COVID pandemic. He went from selling 60 cars a week to just 10.
The inquiry just literally stopped. We didn't expect it to happen as dramatically and as quickly as it did.
With the bills piling up, there was only one option.
We've had to drop the prices. A lot of these cars have been reduced to what we paid for them pre-COVID.
April has been a torrid month for the industry as a whole. Some dealerships have shut, others, like David's, have been forced to shed staff. New car sales have fallen especially hard by almost 50% compared to the same time last year. But if you're looking to buy, experts say there's never been a better time.
Either buy a vehicle, service or repair a vehicle, because there is availability and there is stock.
But the industry's fortunes may be looking up. Carsales.com says its own survey of almost 3,000 Australians shows that social distancing is making us rethink the use of busy public transport. It found 60% of people who don't own a car are now more likely to consider buying one.
They want to use their transport, their mode of transport, as a sort of mobile quarantine, basically.
Tim Hatfield, 7 News.
Donald Trump's refusal to wear a face mask in public has ignited a new row in the United States. It comes as he toured a Ford factory, only putting on a mask behind the scenes. Ashley Mullaney has more.
The president's campaign rallies may be on hold for now, but his factory tours in battleground states are proving the next best thing. Donald Trump today in Michigan, where he faced more questions about his personal mask policy. Behind the scenes with executives at Ford's factory, he was snapped in a mask complete with a presidential seal, but defied the governor's orders and the company's policy to keep it on for the entire visit, telling the press he'd been tested earlier in the day.
I wore one in this back area, but I didn't want to give the press the pleasure of seeing it. I tested very positively in another sense. So this morning, I tested positively toward negative, right? So, no, I tested perfectly this morning, meaning I tested negative.
The president is eager to get Americans back to work, with unemployment figures today showing jobless claims hitting 38 million in just 9 weeks. But the virus is still spreading, with fears some hospitals are still facing a shortage of ICU beds. Days after announcing his plan to fast-track vaccine development with Operation Warp Speed and a commitment to work with other countries, promising signs of global cooperation, with the US pumping $1 billion into a vaccine program at the Oxford University in the UK, now moving ahead with human trials.
Peter Mitchell is in the newsroom with more on what's coming up in 7 News at 6. And Peter, you speak to the mother of a young man whose death is being investigated by the Homicide Squad.
That's right, Laurel. Her son Jake died in a hit-run at Bacchus Marsh. He'd earlier been involved in an argument with 3 people in a ute, which is suspected of being the vehicle that later hit and killed the 24-year-old. Now, Jake's brother was also killed in a motorbike crash, and losing both her sons has left Mrs. Smith a broken woman.
He was a good person. He was 6'2", 6'3", built big, but loved life. And I'm going to miss him so much.
Also tonight, Australians in lockdown turning to buying shares. Advice on the best way to build a portfolio. All today's top stories are coming up at 6 o'clock. Laurel.
Thanks, Mitch. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have made a surprise video call to a nursing home in Wales. They chatted with the elderly residents and then hosted a game of virtual bingo.
6 and 2, tickety-boo.
Yay!
You won the bingo. And this one. Oh. Hi, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Well done. Very hard.
The royal couple are making regular video drop-ins as they try to keep up spirits during the coronavirus lockdown. Jane Bunn returns now with more on the weather. Jane, what can we expect for the weekend?
Well, Laurel, it is showery in Melbourne, but there's a lot more rain set to fall in East Gippsland. I'll have the details after the break.
I have been watching you, Matt.
I've lived in Broken Hill my whole life. Bloody flies. Born and bred in the country.
You got to sort of make your own fun a bit out here. You really got that community spirit.
I am Big Brother, and I've chosen you. Welcome to my brand new house.
I hope I'm a pretty likeable guy.
Matt, it's not about being likeable. It's about doing whatever I say.
It's a game. You got to remember that.
Let's hope you're ready for what I've got planned.
Big Brother, what are you playing at?
Who wins? You decide.
New Special K lower sugar. Rise with us. Rise with protein for muscle. With less than 4 grams of sugar. Set goals, then kick them. Try New Special K lower sugar.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
If you have lost income and you were injured at work or on the road, you need advice before your time limits run out.
Step away from the nurse.
Contact Shine Lawyers. Now is the time to get the compensation you're entitled to. We're here to help.
I need the right lawyer.
I can't afford to be off work.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers. Let's right wrong.
This Friday, Saturday and Sunday, receive a minimum of $300 trade-in for your old double, queen or king-size mattress. Plus, we will deliver your new mattress and take away your old one. Offer ends 4 p.m. Sunday. Bevmarks, the sleep professionals. Better sleep, better life.
Nice.
Just put all of the music.
Yeah. Oh!
This is this.
You'll make a great dad one day.
You think so?
I know so.
If you're planning to have a baby, take Elevate before you start trying. Elevate has more folic acid and iron than any other pregnancy multivitamin. Love grows with Elevate.
I always thought it was me, that I was the reason all these diets never worked.
This is genuinely not a temporary fix. There's some serious psychology behind it.
It's funny how much smarter I feel like Noom has made me. It's the simple things.
Once I understood why I was making those choices, it was easy for me to change those habits, and weight loss came naturally after that.
I've been on Noom for 4 months now. I've lost 27 pounds, and I feel like I got my life back.
Visit Noom.com and lose the weight for good.
One giant contender.
You've got through 13 questions in a minute, which is going to make you a danger man.
One giant offer.
$60,000. And here I am, David versus Goliath.
All leading to one giant upset.
What happened?
But for who? Knew the chase. Coming up next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
Hello again. After another wet night in Melbourne, it has dried up today, but it's not that warm. We've only reached a top of 13.6. Here is the radar. Another wet night, but just for some this time. Showers streamed in this narrow band in through here. 11 millimetres to the city, 10 to Ivanhoe, but much less either side, just 1 millimetre in Sunshine and in Rowville. In Victoria, we've had showers in the far west. They started in Warrnambool and actually made it all the way up to Mildura. Dry but cloudy in the middle, while showers stream into East Gippsland. It's 12 in Orbost. Showers made it up to the Mallee thanks to a trough. But looking at the big picture, and 3 of the 4 drivers of our weather are all working together out there to bring out-of-season rain to northern Australia. This is how much they've seen in the past week. That's more than 500 millimetres in here near Cairns. And the cloud has meant that temperatures are 10 to 15 degrees below the average. Brisbane, just 18 today, Darwin only 25. Now we're focusing on that rain that is feeding down into this low that is off the southeast coast. The low is just close enough to bring big falls to the coast, possibly including East Gippsland. And there's even more out-of-season rain over in the west with a tropical cyclone this weekend. In Victoria, there's nothing for the north, light falls for the south, but East Gippsland, east of about Bairnsdale, they may see big falls, possibly more than 50 millimetres, and that's across the weekend into Monday. Around the nation tomorrow, the chill continues in Brisbane, a top there tomorrow of just 17. The same in Sydney, but lots of gusty showers. Light showers in Hobart and Adelaide, Perth, actually warmer than Darwin. To Victoria, showers across the south, cloudy in the northwest with drizzle, mostly sunny in the northeast. The wettest spot is East Gippsland in through here, tending to persistent rain, breezy southerly winds, the potential for heavy falls with local flash flooding. And in Melbourne, grey and showery, 15. Wet, yes, but Orbost more than 50 millimetres, just 1 or 2 here, Laurel.
Lovely. Thank you, Jane. And that's all from Melbourne's afternoon news. Thanks for joining us. At 6, Peter Mitchell has the latest on Victoria's virus spike and details on VCE exams. But for now, from the 7 News team, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
We're here.
We're here. Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Right.
Oh. This isn't our house.
Oh my God.
In the transformation of the year.
This is the house of our dreams.
Oh my God.
It's all for Mum.
Oh my goodness. It's so different.
I think this is probably the best bathroom we've seen on House Rules.
They will do their best reno yet.
There's so much to see. I can't take it all in.
It'll be the Hampton-style home of her dreams.
I love everything. Things I never thought I'd have. And I'll be forever grateful. I don't deserve this. This is just... It's too much for one person to have. Amazing, memorable. Wow, thank you. Just doesn't seem enough. A part of you will always be in the house with us forever.
Mum's dream home will be revealed on House Rules on 7. The unmissable whole house reveal, Sunday at 7.
These 4 strangers must work as a team to win thousands of dollars. But standing in their way is one of the sharpest minds in Australia, the Chaser. The chase is on. Welcome to the Chase Australia. Great to have your company as always. You know, sometimes we have the